Welcome to the deep dive. Get ready, because today we're plunging into this really fascinating world where African wines meet African cuisine.
Hmm.
You, our listener, sent in some great sources on both, and our mission really is to unlock some exciting, maybe unexpected flavor pairings.
Yeah, think of it as a shortcut, maybe, to getting a real feel for this delicious intersection.
Exactly.
It's a journey, I think, that's just full of surprises, and it lets us move past, the simple rules and really
Once.
appreciate the links between the land, the flavors, the history.
Right.
So to really get how these wines and dishes work together, we probably need to step back first and just see the incredible diversity in both.
Absolutely. When we talk African cuisine, the first thing is, well, it's not just one thing, is it?
Not at all.
It's more like this amazing, constantly changing mosaic of regional traditions, each one shaped by, what grows there, the local geography,
And the history.
and the history, yeah, from old spice routes to later global influences and just, well, the sheer cleverness of using local stuff in brilliant ways.
And the story for African wine is just as rich, just as complex.
Yeah.
South Africa often gets the spotlight, and for good reason, with its long history, but winemaking on the continent goes deeper. And there's this really vibrant, modern chapter happening right now.
A real comeback in North Africa, right?
Yeah.
Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia.
Exactly, reviving those historical regions. And then you've got exciting new ventures in East Africa, places like Ethiopia, Kenya. The potential there is just starting to be tapped.
It's honestly mind-blowing when you think about the range of terroirs, the climates,
Right.
from sunny Mediterranean coasts to these cool, high-altitude vineyards.
Totally different worlds.
Okay, so for you listening, our goal today isn't just simple do's and don'ts for pairing. We want to dig into the nuances, the specific flavors, the regional identities.
Yeah, the aim is to help you find those real aha moments, when a specific wine and certain dish just click and create something amazing. Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe we start with the wine regions, get a feel for the key players and styles.
Good idea.
Then we can jump into the food, explore those regional flavors.
And then bring it all together, talk pairings.
That's the plan. Give some practical ideas for making these connections yourself.
Sounds like a delicious adventure. Okay, let's start with the wines then. And South Africa feels like the obvious place to begin, given that history.
It really does. South Africa is pivotal. I mean, winemaking there goes back to 1659, Jan van Riebeeck, Cape Town.
Wow, 1659, that's nearly 370 years. Incredible depth of experience.
It really is.
And the heartland is the Cape, right? We're talking Stellenbosch, Franschhoek, Swartland, that's got some exciting stuff happening now.
Yeah, the Swartland Revolution.
Hemel and Ard, cooler climate there, and Robertson Valley, too.
Mm-hmm. And the climate across much of the Cape Winelands is classic Mediterranean. You get those wet winters, good for the vines, followed by long, dry, sunny summers, just ideal for ripening grapes.
But it's not just sun, is it? The oceans play a huge role.
Oh, absolutely crucial. You've got the Atlantic on one side, the Indian on the other. They bring in these cooling breezes, especially in summer.
Moderating the heat.
Exactly. It slows down ripening, lets the grapes develop more complex flavors. It's like a long, slow bake instead of a flash fry.
That makes sense. And then you have the mountains. They must create all sorts of little pockets, different conditions.
For sure. These dramatic mountain ranges create this patchwork of microclimates. Different sun exposure, day-night temperature shifts, varying rainfall.
Plus, the soils are really varied, too, I read. Granite, sandstone, shale.
Yeah, and each soil type adds its own little signature to the wine. It all contributes to the character.
Okay, so thinking about South Africa, what are the key grapes and styles we should know? Let's kick off with the reds.
Right, reds. South Africa does some brilliant ones. Cabernet Sauvignon, often quite structured, get that black fruit, maybe a hint of spice.
Elegant.
Yeah. Syrah, or Shiraz, you'll see both known for spice, dark fruits, sometimes even floral notes. Merlot gives you that softer, velvety feel, red fruits, maybe chocolate hints.
And Pinotage, South Africa's own.
Ah, yes, Pinotage. It's unique. Can be divisive sometimes, but you often get dark plum, berry, sometimes smoky or earthy notes, even licorice or banana, believe it or not.
Yeah, okay.
And don't forget Sinsalt. It makes these lovely, lighter, fresh, red-fruited wines. Really gulpable, perfect for warmer weather.
That's quite a lineup for reds. What about the whites? South Africa seems famous for those, too.
Oh, definitely. Chenin Blanc, or Steen, as they often call it there, is a real star.
I've heard it's super versatile.
Incredibly versatile. It can be bone-dry and flinty, perfect with food, or it can go all the way to these complex, luscious dessert wines.
Wow.
And the aromas. Citrus, stone fruit, tropical notes, honey, spice. It's all in there depending on the style.
Great. What else in white?
Sauvignon Blanc does really well, especially in the cooler spots. You get that zippy acidity, grassy notes, tropical fruit like passion fruit.
Classic Sauvignon Blanc profile.
Yeah. Chardonnay is big too. And you find a range of styles. Some lean in mineral, others richer, buttery, maybe oak influenced.
Depends on the winemaker's choice.
Exactly. And even Riesling finds a home in some cooler pockets. You get those lovely aromatic floral and citrus notes, good minerality.
So it's not just still wines, though. I know they do bubbles.
Right. Methode Cap Classique, or MCC, it's their name for top-quality sparkling wine made in the traditional method, like champagne.
And some are seriously good.
They really are. Plus, they make lovely dry rosés, perfect for the climate. And historically, let's not forget the dessert wines. The sweet wines of Constantia are legendary.
Ah, Constantia. That has a whole history itself.
Absolutely. So yeah, South Africa is definitely a cornerstone.
Okay, that's a great overview of South Africa. But you mentioned other regions are really coming up too. Let's broaden the view. North Africa, for instance.
Yes, North Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia. These places have ancient winemaking roots. We're talking millennia. And there's a real modern resurgence happening.
Mediterranean climate there too, mostly.
Predominantly, yes. Warm, sunny, great for grapes. The focus tends to be on robust reds and also really refreshing rosés.
Interesting. Tell us a bit about Morocco specifically. What's the style there?
Morocco's interesting. They're working well with international grapes like Syrah, Cabernet, Merlot for reds, often quite intense and spicy. But the rosés are fantastic too, really fresh and aromatic.
And the vineyards are in different spots, not just coastal.
No, they range from coastal plains right up into the Atlas Mountain foothills. So you get different terroirs influencing the wines. Some names to look out for: Les Celliers de Meknes, Domaine Ouled Thaleb.
Okay.
Domaine du Val d'Argent does Rhone styles.
Yeah.
And there's Sirocco, a project with Alain Grayot, a top French winemaker. Some real quality happening.
Sounds like it's worth seeking out. What about Algeria?
Algeria is focusing on reviving its quality reds. Think of Carignan, Sconsault, Grenache grapes, well suited to the climate. They're making some nice rosés too.
Any key producers there?
Look for names like SGCO, Société de Grand Cru de l'Ouest. They have labels like Saint-Augustin. Also, wines from Coteau de Mascara like Sidi Ibrahim and Coteau du Zaccar. Feels like they're rediscovering their heritage.
And Tunisia, known for rosé, I think.
Yes. Tunisia has a long history too.
Yeah.
And they are particularly known for their dry rosés, especially from Cap Bon and Mornog. Gris de Tunisie is kind of their signature style.
Gris de Tunisie. Okay.
But they do reds and whites too. Domaine Neferis is one producer, Septune's another. It's exciting to see these historic regions stepping back into the light.
It really is. Now, East Africa, that's probably less expected for most people thinking about wine.
True, but it's an emerging frontier. Ethiopia and Kenya in particular, it's relatively new, but there's investment, and they're figuring out what works in their unique, often high-altitude terroirs.
Higher altitude means cooler temperatures.
Exactly, which can be great for grape growing, especially closer to the equator.
Yeah.
In Ethiopia, they're working with international varieties like Syrah, Cab Sauv, Chardonnay, often finding success at elevation.
And Kenya.
Kenya has a smaller scene, but again, production is often in higher areas. They're doing both reds and whites, showing real promise. It's early days, but
Yeah.
definitely one to watch.
Fascinating. Any other spots in Africa producing wine?
Yeah, definitely. It's not just those main regions. You find winemaking in Egypt, for instance. Giannicolis is a big name there. Kurum of the Nile, too.
Egypt. Okay.
And even places like Namibia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique have some production, often smaller scale. It just adds to this picture of a continent with a really diverse and growing wine scene. A past, a present, and definitely an exciting future.
It's incredible, the sheer breadth. Right, okay, we've got a good map of the wines now. Let's switch gears and dive into the food. African cuisine. Equally diverse, I imagine.
Oh, every bit as diverse and captivating. It's this incredibly vibrant tapestry woven from countless influences and just amazing array of ingredients.
What kind of things are we talking about?
Think aromatic spices, fragrant herbs, all sorts of proteins, meats, poultry, amazing fish and seafood. Then the staples, maize, rice, sorghum, millet, and so many vegetables. Yam, cassava, sweet potato, okra, leafy greens.
Wow.
It's food shaped by the land, by the cultures, just endlessly fascinating.
Okay, let's explore regionally again, starting back in North Africa.
Sounds good. North Africa, think Morocco, Algeria. Tunisia, again, has those strong Mediterranean and Arab links. Lots of aromatic spices. Cumin, coriander, saffron, cinnamon.
I can almost smell it.
Olive oil is key. Lemon for brightness, olives for saltiness, and often a touch of sweetness from dried fruits or honey. It's all about balance.
And the famous dishes.
Tagines.
Tagines, definitely. Those slow-cooked stews, meat or veg, often with apricots or olives. Couscous, of course, served with rich stews. Pastilla, that amazing savory sweet pigeon pie. And various grilled kebabs.
Delicious. Okay, moving south to West Africa, what's the flavor profile there?
West Africa tends to be bolder, often spicier. Chili peppers are used quite generously.
Okay, noted.
Palm oil is common, gives a distinct richness. Groundnuts, peanuts feature heavily in sauces and stews.
Key dishes. Jollof rice comes to mind.
Jollof rice is huge, yeah. That tomato-y, spicy rice, often with chicken or fish. Then there's yassa, chicken or fish, marinated in lemon and onions. Tibourien in Senegal, that's fish and rice. And fufu, the starchy dough made from yam or cassava, eaten with soups. Lots of bold flavors there. Now, East Africa, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania.
East Africa often uses aromatic spices too, but maybe slightly less chili heavy than West Africa, generally speaking. Fermented flavors are important. Think injera.
Ah, the spongy flatbread.
Exactly. Made from teff flour, slightly tangy. It's the base for so many meals. Key dishes include doro wat, that spicy chicken stew with Berber spice.
I've heard of Burberry.
It's a fantastic blend. Also kitfo, which is seasoned raw minced beef. Ugali, a maize porridge staple. And the nyama choma, literally grilled meat, a big social thing.
Sounds incredible. Finally, Southern Africa. What are the defining tastes there?
Southern Africa is fascinating because it's such a mix. Indigenous traditions meet influences from Cape Malay communities, Indian settlers, Europeans.
A real melting pot.
Totally. So you get dishes like Bobotie spiced minced meat with that creamy egg topping, a bit sweet and savory. Bunny chow, the curry in a bread loaf, famous street food.
Right.
The braai, of course, the barbecue culture is huge. And pachecos, slow-cooked stews in a cast-iron pot. There's often a balance of sweet and savory, like in Bobotie, alongside spicy curries and sambals reflecting that multicultural history.
What an amazing culinary tour. Okay, the moment we've been building up to. Bringing the wines and the food together. The pairings.
Right, the alchemy. And while those basic pairing principles matching intensity, considering acidity, tannins, sweetness, still apply.
Yeah, they give you a starting point.
Exactly. But the unique flavors here, in both the wines and the food, they just open up so many cool new possibilities.
Okay, let's talk reds first. Those bigger African reds, Cab Sav, Syrah Shiraz. What meat dishes work?
Think robust dishes. Grilled red meats, like from a South African braai or Kenyan nyama choma. Rich stews work well too.
So like a good steak with maybe an African pepper sauce?
Perfect example. The tannins in a Cab Sav would cut through the richness of the steak, and the wine's dark fruit and spice would just sing alongside that sauce.
Nice. What about the medium-bodied reds? Merlot, Pinotage.
They're great with slightly leaner meats. Game, poultry, stews that aren't super fatty. Imagine a Moroccan lamb tagine with all those spices. A fruity Merlot could be lovely there. The fruitiness complements the lamb and spices, the acidity cuts through, but the softer tannins don't overwhelm.
And Pinotage. You said it was versatile.
Very. It can be brilliant with game. And because of its unique, smoky, earthy notes, it can handle spiced dishes really well. It often mirrors those savory, slightly rustic flavors you find in some stews.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's switch to whites. Those fresh, aromatic ones, Sauvignon Blanc, Chenin Blanc. Seafood seems obvious.
Definitely a natural fit. Think about something like an African fish moqueca, maybe a bit creamy, a bit spicy.
Right.
A crisp Sauvignon Blanc with its high acidity would cut through that beautifully, and its grassy, tropical notes would just enhance the freshness of the fish.
And Chenin Blanc, you mentioned its range.
Exactly. A dry, mineral Chenin is great with simply prepared fish. But a richer, perhaps slightly off-dry or barrel-fermented Chenin can handle creamier sauces or more intensely flavored seafood. It's got that flexibility.
What about fuller-bodied whites? Chardonnay, for example.
A richer Chardonnay, maybe one with some oak from South Africa, can be fantastic with heartier vegetarian dishes. Or stews with creamy, nutty bases.
Like a groundnut stew.
Exactly. Groundnut stew with yam, say. The body and texture of the Chardonnay, maybe those stone fruit or citrus notes, would complement the richness of the stew really well.
Don't want to forget rosés and sparkling wines. They seem perfect for a lot of African climates and cuisines.
Absolutely. Dry, vibrant rosés are incredibly food-friendly. They can handle spice, work with salads, even cope with some Asian influences you sometimes find.
Like with jollof rice.
Great shout. A good rosé with jollof rice and chicken. The acidity balances the spice. The fruit complements any sweetness in the tomato base. Works really well.
And the sparklers, the MCC.
So versatile. Great as an aperitif, obviously. Fantastic with seafood. Good with light desserts. And surprisingly good with fried foods, too. The bubbles and acidity just cut through richness.
So maybe even with something like Bobotie, with its richness and the fruity chutney.
You could definitely try that. The acidity could provide a really interesting contrast to the sweet, savory notes of the Bobotie. Worth experimenting.
Okay, one last area dessert. Pairing those sweet African wines.
Right, the Constantia wines, fortified styles, late harvest wines, they naturally pair well with fruit-based desserts or things with spice.
Like a coconut cake with ginger, maybe?
Ooh, lovely idea.
Mm.
A Constantia wine could be stunning with that. You could match the sweetness, but also find fascinating contrasts between the wine's complex, honeyed, nutty notes and the cake's flavors.
Exploring complementary and contrasting elements.
Exactly. Those historic sweet wines, the fortified ones, they have enough intensity and character to stand up to desserts with real flavor.
This whole exploration has been just incredibly insightful. It really opens your eyes to the possibilities.
It really does. The sheer variety, the unique flavors in both the wines and the food.
Mm-hmm.
It means there's almost endless potential for exciting, maybe unexpected pairings.
It's about getting past simple rules, isn't it?
Yeah, and just embracing discovery, trying things out.
And ultimately, it's a way to celebrate and really appreciate the amazing gastronomic diversity of Africa.
Well said.
So for you, our listener, maybe a final thought to chew on. Think about terroir, how the land, the soil, the climate shapes African wines. Could understanding that deepen your appreciation for the regionality of African food, too? Do the wines and the food, in their own ways, tell a similar story about the place and the people?
That's a really fascinating question to ponder as you explore these pairings yourself.
Definitely. So just to wrap up this deep dive, we've journeyed through the incredible diversity of African wines, from South Africa's established vineyards to exciting developments in North and East Africa.
And we've tasted our way, mentally at least, through the distinct flavors of North, West, East, and Southern African cuisine.
And hopefully we've sparked some ideas about how to bring them together, creating pairings based on flavor, intensity, and regional character.
We really hope you feel inspired to explore more. Maybe seek out some of these wine regions or grapes we talked about.
Yeah, find a local African restaurant, or maybe try making a dish like jollof rice or a tagine at home, and then have fun experimenting with some African wine pairings.
Absolutely. And please share your discoveries. We'd love to hear about your favorite combinations.
We really would. Thank you so much for diving deep with us into this truly delicious and fascinating topic.